It's Saturday, August 24th, and for the first time in months, there is officially no risk of severe weather today outlined by the Storm Prediction Center. The only place where I do think there is really going to be the potential of potentially seeing a marginal risk introduced would be down here in far western Arizona. But pretty much other than that, as it stands, there is currently no outlined risk of severe weather, which also means no severe hazards. And today's forecast is mostly just going to be really good news. But before we get through to the rest of the good news, we do have to look at some of the bad. There is going to be a small risk of flash flooding today out here in parts of the upper plains convergence zone and then also down in the southeast. And both are a slight risk. There's going to be that conditional threat of 2 to 4 inches of rain. So definitely the potential for flash flooding is there. Then in our marginal risk, we have one which spans up into the lower to mid Appalachians, then down into the southeast, and another one out here in the southwest and kind of the Colorado Plateau. There's also going to be one, and both these would just be for the conditional threat of 1 to 2 inches of rain. So really not something to worry about that much, but just stay weather aware of if you're in any of these areas. And then back to the good news, it is going to be the coolest day that we've also seen in months. We're really not expecting to see any hundreds feels like temperatures anywhere. And even in our hot spots where it's normally a guarantee this time of year that we'll see some super duper warm temperatures, we're really not even expecting to see that in Florida or Texas. Really, the main thing is just going to be mid 90s feels like temperatures in our main hot spots. And for the rest of the country, except the immediate Pacific coast, it's going to be some very, very pretty weather, not really eclipsing mid 80s feels like temperatures. And really, if you're up here further up north, you're going to be sitting in that mid 70s to even high 60s feels like temperatures. So definitely something very new. It's something very good, and it's only going to get cooler over the rest of the week. So also more good news there. And then in the tropics, this may look concerning at first glance, but this is actually quite good what's going on out here. We still do have two areas of interest. Then of course post-tropical Aaron, which isn't going to harm anything else. This will likely transform into tropical storm Fernand in the coming days, but now it's not even forecasted to impact Bermuda and is also expected to just be a fish storm. And then our area of interest, which is forecasted to go into the Caribbean, is also looking slimmer and slimmer at developing day by day. And the Euro ensembles reflect that. We can really see not much development going on in the Caribbean from that area of interest at all. And then Tropical Storm Fernand doesn't have any ensembles going through Bermuda, so it looks like it's not going to make any land packs at all. So definitely good news in the tropics for now. And this is one of the areas which I really are one of the main places where I do think some strong storms will be possible. It's going to be pretty much all of Florida and then Georgia and South Carolina. It looks like we're going to have a bit of a low pressure system just kind of meandering over central Georgia. That is why there's going to be that flash flood threat in place for this region, and also potentially a couple of stronger storms. And in Florida, it looks like it's going to rain pretty much all day. And that's also going to be centered on central Florida about, and there could also be some strong, potentially weak severe storms out here. But the main place that I think is going to be seeing that main threat for some strong storms and potentially weak severe is going to be out here out west. One of the main areas to watch, I think, is going to be the upper plains convergence zone. We do have a high pressure system rotating out here, bringing a lot of organizing shear, and also there's going to be some pretty strong convergence out there, and that area does have a knack to produce some surprise severe weather. So definitely look out for that. Then pretty much all of these storms are along this high pressure system could definitely be somewhat strong, bringing some gusty winds. But I do think the risk of seeing really any severe would be once again in southwestern Arizona, kind of like what we saw yesterday, but that risk is going to be very small, and it's likely just going to be a couple of strong thunderstorms. Then for the rest of the country, it's really not looking crazy at all. The only other place which could potentially see some more storms would be along a cold front stretching down from the northeast into the mid-Atlantic. That's pretty much it. And here are 500 millimeter winds showing us where some forcing for storms is going to be. And we can see what I was just talking about with the northeast stretching down into the mid-Atlantic. There's also going to be a bit of a cold front here. There's going to be the very conditional risk of seeing some storms, likely only being possibly strong and not really anything over that. But I think our main area of interest is going to be back here in the upper plains and out west. We do have a high pressure system, which is also squeezed along some flow from an upper level trough. And this could definitely bring a couple of severe storms to the upper plains, then also down here in southwestern Arizona, where we do have a bit more flow as well. And that would be the main area of interest today. And then, of course, it looks like we have some troughing going on in the southeast, which is another thing to look for. But those are pretty much the only areas of any concern today, and that concern is going to be very low. And then there aren't really any environments which are worth taking a deep dive with the weather sounding on. So this is going to be it for the video today. So really just a pretty short and sweet forecast, but pretty much all good news across the board.